Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Hernandez. I'm a BCBA and I'm from a study group called ABA Exam Academy. Today we're gonna go over task list A, which is measurement. Some of the things that we're gonna cover is timing, time sampling, event recording, artifacts, and much more. And we're gonna be going over scenarios. So stay tuned because the scenarios are, I specifically picked the same type of scenarios so we can differentiate the little tiny things that make them look different. And that helps us when we see the big questions in the test. The disclaimer quickly is that the ABA Exam Academy study group was created by and for students to earn their BCBA, BCABA certification. Remember that the meetings are meant for us to have a discussion and collaboration and understand the BACB 4th edition task list concepts. And also, all the participants or viewers in YouTube or everything else, please double check everything, all the information that we give. Again, my name is Jenny Hernandez. I'm a BCABA, and the PowerPoint and mock questions were created by me. And the ethical considerations, especially during this time period, is we are not allowed. It's very unethical, and you know, it's we cannot do it. It's share questions from the test. And also don't share any questions from paid resources or any information like that. They have strict strategic rules about it. And if we're gonna share any open resources, any books or anything like that, we always give credit to those who deserve it. So guys, the test tip that I'm gonna give you is one that you already know probably, but one that you need to remember, especially when you're doing measurement, when you tackle a question on measurement, is select the option that is specific and not the general one. And I'm gonna show you why now, because as you can see, I put it here in a table. Damie did a great job at going over specifically about IOAs, and Minerva also, she covered the entire task list. So what I did is I got the measurable dimensions of behavior and everything, and I put it into categories so we can pile them up and memorize them. Okay, so I'm gonna put the link for Minerva's Zoom and Minerva's meeting and Damie's meeting at the description of the video if you want to see it later. So here, measurable dimensions of behavior. In this time, I am giving you the answers here. You just have to tell me which one, and you can sort of have your cheat sheet. Because today I want to go from easy to hardest. So which are the three? And you get to pick. I made it even easier. You get to pick from the ones that are in the circle. So is it event recording, time measurement, timing, time sampling, or artifacts?
Event recording, timing, and time sampling.
Let's check it out. Event recording, timing, and time sampling. Good job. So under event recording, we have 3. Under timing, we have 3. And under time sampling, we have 3. Who can tell me which one goes where? Event recording.
Count and frequency.
Count, frequency, duration.
Right.
No, count, frequency, rate.
Yep. Count, frequency, rates, and acceleration.
So thank you for participating, guys. So this is the reason why I put them, because it is a little confusing when you have to file them up. But the questions in the test ask a lot about this, and they give you choices. And these are part of the choices. Guys, if you're not speaking, please mute your mic, because we have a lot of background noise right now. Let me see if I can do it. Okay, sorry about that. Just unmute yourself. Just unmute yourself when you want to speak, please. Okay, so the next one would be
Duration, inter-response time.
In timing is duration, inter-response time, and which other?
Latency? I don't see that On there, it says response. Is it supposed to be response latency?
Oh, interesting. I forgot to write the rest. Yes,
Yeah, because that's
you're
storage.
right. But you know what? Let's say that I did it on purpose because I'm teaching you how to discriminate. Response latency. There you go. And what's the AKA for response latency?
Latency.
Yeah, good job. Easy. So now we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do with extra little things. And we're not gonna have the cheat sheet. Guys, if you know it, wait a couple of seconds to, and if you don't know it, try to use a cheat sheet because I want you to start memorizing these things. So procedures for measuring behavior, we said, is event recording, timing, and which one am I missing here?
Time sampling.
Time sampling.
Time sampling, correct. So that one I left it for another completely different slide because it didn't fit. So, so here, you already know this one. So let's work on fluency. On the event recording, you said what?
Count, frequency, rate,
Frequency,
acceleration.
Acceleration and rate.
Okay. Nice. I like how fast you said it. Not as fast as I'm changing it. There you go. Okay, so the formula for count or frequency, or what's the formula for it?
Number of occurrences.
Number of occurrences. Let me see. You add up the behaviors. I tried a new system today. You add up the behaviors or the items, right? So it's basically what you said. I just wrote it in more of a formula. Like if you see it, what is it you need to do? You need to add them up. Okay, so if you see it, if they tell you to figure out the rate, what is the formula that you need to do to figure out the rate?
Behavior over time.
Count over time.
Count over time. Good job. Count over time. So is the mod, you said it's count of behavior over time, right? So we're only missing that little.
Yeah, just count how many times the behavior occurred over how long.
Perfect. Acceleration?
It's time over time.
Over
time.
So if you're gonna simplify it, it would be rate over time, right?
Okay.
So it would be a combination of this on top over time, right? So that's the way we look. Okay, so in timing, we already went through it. So we're only working on fluency here. Which one are the procedures or what is it that we use it for measuring behavior? In time.
Duration,
Latency,
and IRT.
I like the participation, guys. So response latency, look, here I had it good. IRT and duration. Good, you have it memorized. That's nice job. Okay, if we were to like say it in a formula, how would it look like? Response latency or latency.
Oh, you're talking average? Like if they were to give you a problem.
Let me just give you to see so you know what I mean. That'll be easier. So I would put it like time between SD and response, right? That's what it means. Like if you see it, what you need to do is you need to look at when the SD is presenting and when the response starts. So it's the time between them. And which one is for inter-response time?
The end of one behavior till the beginning of the next behavior.
Good. Or if you want to even be more picky than that, just at the end of one response, time between, let's say that, let's add that part that you added. So time between the end of one response, of a response, right? A response to the beginning of the response number 2. Makes sense better. Okay.
I heard somebody mention yesterday that it was the same behavior. Is that correct? So, like hand flapping and hand flapping, it wouldn't be like hand flapping and clapping, right?
Yeah, it has to be the
Yes,
same response.
it has to be the same response. I remember a behavior can have multiple responses. So that's it. That's a good question. So duration.
How long did behavior last?
Yes, it's the total amount of time between behavior. No, total amount of time of the behavior occurs. But it also has two other types, more specific. I would say this definition would be the general one, and then we have the two more specific. I think Vanessa answered in Minerva's study session.
Duration per occurrence.
Nice job, my friend. You see?
And total duration per session.
Total duration per session. Do you want to explain what's the difference?
Or in total duration per session, you want to know the total amount of time that the individual engages in a behavior. And in the total duration per occurrence, you want to know the duration of each instance of that behavior. So for example, for total duration per session, if the individual had 3 instances of behavior and each of them were 5 seconds each, then the total duration for the session would be a total of 15 seconds. And then in the total duration per occurrence, you would basically list each of those instances that occurred for 5 seconds each.
Okay, perfect. And actually, I like the way you do it because that gives us an idea for a mock question, right? So in a mock question where it's telling you all that information that Vanessa just said, you can either have the question framed as what's the duration per session, and there you know that you need to do what? You need to
Add them all.
Add them all. And if they're asking you about duration per occurrence,
you just record each duration. You don't add them up.
Just give that one. So that little thing, that's why it's important to differentiate them. Okay, so the other part is dimensional quantities. Do you guys know what dimensional quantities is?
Yes.
It took me a while to get it. So can you explain it?
I can tell you what it is. Well, which one is which, but I don't know if I can.
But what is it that we're talking about when we say dimensional quantities?
It's a particular feature of the object or the event that you're measuring.
Perfect. Well, the way Cooper explained it, which is how I learned it best, is like if I ask you what's the dimensional quantities of the table, then you can measure the color, or how he said it in more specific terms. He was saying like how the light reflects the surface and hits your eyes, which is color. So color, it's completely different than the dimension of how much the table weighs. You see how they're completely different? Mm-hmm. And also the other one would be what's the width? So it's not about the same thing in different ways. It's completely different ways to measure something. So if we were gonna say that about me, let's say we can say what are dimensional quantities of a woman. It could be, we could say like how much does she weigh, or what is her color, or what's her height. So you see, those are completely different. So somebody wanted to add something? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when we talk into dimensional quantities, when it comes to behavior, then how many do we have? Do you guys remember?
3.
So which one goes with count? or frequency?
Repeatability.
Repeatability. Nice job. Thank you. Which one goes with rate?
Repeatability.
Was it Claudia? Thank you, Claudia. And which one goes with acceleration?
Repeatability.
Repeatability. So a tip for the test, you're gonna, if you bundle them together, you know that event recording has 3, count, rate, and acceleration. And they're all what? What dimensional quantities are they?
Repeatability.
Repeatability. Okay, so in timing, let's do specifically response latency. Which one is response latency?
Temporal locus.
Yes, temporal locus. And in IRT or inter-response time?
Temporal locus.
Temporal locus. Good job, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trick. It's temporal extent.
Temporal. So just remember, in timing, it's 2 are temporal locus, and the other one that is the admin out is temporal extent. Okay, that's the way I would suggest that you memorize it. So the last one of the 3, remember we had 3 procedures for measuring the behavior. We had event recording, timing, and time sampling. We put it here because it's different, right? So what is time sampling?
Discontinuous measurement.
Ooh, you're going fancier than what I thought. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. We're gonna go over it.
Whole interval, partial interval, and momentary time sampling.
Okay, so yes, and I was going more specific at the actual definition for time sampling, which is method of recording behavior during intervals or at specific moments in time. But everything that you said was right. Thank you, guys. So we have what Mott said. I think it was Mott, right? Whole, partial,
momentary time sampling,
and momentary time sampling. And guys, under momentary time sampling, there's like another one that only goes in momentary time sampling, but it's for a group. Which one is that one?
Play check.
Play check.
Play check.
So play check. I'm gonna put it right here really quick under parentheses. So actually I'll put it later because you guys know it. So let's just remember the same thing for momentary, but it's for play check, which is in one person or a group of people?
It's a group.
It's a group, okay. So the rate of behavior, does it underestimate or overestimate or neither? When we're talking about whole interval.
Underestimate.
Underestimate. Good job, guys. When we're talking about partial interval, over, under, or neither?
Overestimate.
Overestimate. And how about momentary time sampling or play check?
Either or.
Either or. Okay. Does anybody want to explain what that means?
So for a whole interval, pretty much you have the behavior has to occur throughout the entire interval in order for that to count.
Yes. Yes. So basically, in partial interval, for example, you can the child does the behavior. Let's say an interval is it's 4 seconds. Let's do it like this, so it'll be easier, right? So if the child does the behavior first, second, all this time, we mark it as 1. But it also, if he does the behavior 1 time, then we mark it as 1. So he does it again 1 time, in the second interval, we mark it as 1. So it overestimates. And in all whole interval, it underestimates because it
Because
doesn't.
the
Go ahead.
behavior can happen for, let's say, you have an interval for 5 minutes, and if the behavior happens for 4 minutes and 59 seconds, you don't mark anything if it doesn't happen at the 5 minutes mark. So therefore, it's underestimate.
Perfect. I like your explanation a lot. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so use behavior when you want to do what? The whole interval, you use it when the behavior you want to
Increase.
increase. So you know already the tip for this one, right? How do you remember them? You use the opposite, right? So it's underestimate. So you want the you use it when you want the behavior to increase. It underestimates. You use it when you want the behavior to increase. How about in partial interval?
Decrease.
Decrease. So it's the opposite. This is one of those things that if you don't memorize, it would be good for you to put it in a little table in the whiteboard if you wish to do so. And how about for momentary time sampling?
Either.
Either.
I don't know what I would think. Use present moment to record. I wrote this a while back. That's not, let's not pay attention to that one because I don't fully remember that one. Which one has artifacts, guys? Whole interval, partial interval, or momentary time sampling?
Isn't it all of them since they're part of this continuous measurement?
Okay, Matt thinks it's all of them. Who else thinks it's all of them, or none of them, or one of them?
I thought it was
thinking it was all of them.
Okay, so let's see. It is all of them, guys.
I'm like, come on now. I'm like, don't tell me what I learned is incorrect.
I'm not telling you. I just want you to prove. I want you to fight for it.
No, I was confident. That was my final answer.
Yes, you see, that's why. When you're confident, then that means you truly learned it. So, who remembers what artifacts are? Let's go over it, because that's tricky. So artifacts, according to Coupe, is misleading data. The data are artifacts of the measurement procedures used to obtain them. So basically, it's misleading data. That's all you gotta remember about that. That's what I would say. Why? Then here is the answer. For example, in an example, if Danny's screaming behavior occurred actually occurred 55% of the observation period, when data is collected using partial interval and whole interval, the results are different than 50% because they over or underestimate the actual occurrence of the behavior. So that's what we need to keep under consideration when interpreting the data. Do you want to explain it in your own words what artifacts are?
I'll try. So artifacts can produce this misleading data because it's not always really representative of what happens when you're using interval data. Like, for example, it could be saying that a behavior only occurred 20% of intervals for partial interval data, but really those 20 intervals could have been a high frequency. You just don't, it makes it look like the data was actually low when really the frequency could have been very high.
Yes. And that's why they're always going to have artifacts, because you're not constantly observing the behavior, right, Alicia? Thank you. I like your explanation. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think you're already good at this. I don't think you need help with it. Anybody else? Anybody wants to say it fast, just to play with fluency? Event recording, what are they? Ready, set, go.
count, frequency, rate, and
Acceleration.
Frequency, acceleration. Timing, ready, set, go.
Latency, IRT.
Duration.
Yes, awesome. And time sampling, that one's easy. Ready, set, go.
Full interval,
Short
partial
hold,
interval,
momentary, play check.
play check.
Play check for what?
For group.
For group. Good job, guys. That was my whole purpose of today, to work and do fluency for these things. Okay, measurement procedures is continuous or discontinuous. I think you already know this. So the way I group them is event recording and timing are one type, and time sampling is another type. I personally memorize time sampling. Whenever I see a test, is it time sampling? No, then it is the other one. It's better once you say it already. It's less confusing. So let's go with my method. So what is time sampling? What type of measurement procedure is it? Continuous or discontinuous?
Discontinuous.
Discontinuous. Nice. So that means that event recording and timing is what?
Continuous.
Continuous. That's all. That's the best way to remember it. Okay, what is discontinuous?
It means that the way that your not all of the behavior are going to be recorded.
Exactly, and that's basically what happens in time sampling, right? Because you don't have to be constantly looking at it. Okay, the behavior that is measured is continuous or discontinuous. Okay, so in a real question from the test, the key thing here is you need to differentiate and say, are they asking me about measurement procedures, or are they asking me about the behavior that is measured, right? So when they're asking about measurement procedures, we already said it. Now, when we're asking about behavior that is measured, is it continuous or discontinuous? I think you know the answer also as well. What is the one for time sampling?
Continuous.
Continuous.
Continuous. And what is the one for event recording and timing?
Discontinuous.
Discontinuous. So if you can see, guys, this is a pattern. I personally, the way that I like to learn it is time sampling is discontinuous. The rest, the discontinuous measurement procedure. So everything else is the opposite. So I just sort of fill in the blank. For the behavior is the opposite, and for the measurement procedure is the opposite, and also is also the opposite of that. Does that make any sense, or am I just making it more confusing?
No, that makes sense.
So I guess work your way from time sampling and then go around. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about discontinuous behavior. These are tricky. Everybody always gets confused. Not everybody, but discontinuous behaviors are discrete. They have clear beginning and end, and distinguishable start and stop. And in discontinuous behavior, we also have free operands. An example of that is a number of words read. What do we mean for, so I'm gonna ask you now so you can say it in your own words. What do we mean by discontinuous behavior?
As a discrete stop and start.
Yes, so it's a clear beginning and a clear end. Thank you. So here I put a definition for free operand. And I just did it, to tell the truth, I got Cooper and Mayer, and then I sort of broke it down to detail so we can see it better.
Pretty much the behavior can occur at any time.
Yes, that is right. And it also has a clear beginning and a clear end.
Correct.
And they say it requires minimum displacement of the organism in time and space, which is basically, you know, it's fast. And like Mott said, it's, it occurs at any time. So anybody wants to give me an example? For example, an example that I put here that I had in the book is the pigeon when he picks the key for the experience that we always see Skinner do. When he picks the key, that's a free operand. When he does it freely just because he wants to, okay? So words read during a minute counting period. So it's in different rates because you could do it 5 per 1 minute or 20 per 1 minute. So that's where the part of the definition comes about it being a range of responses in rate. Continuous behavior, which one is that?
Behaviors that don't have they occur in high rates.
Behaviors that occur in a high rate. Perfect. Let me get this. And I happen to find a lot of examples. Because sometimes it's easier when we find examples. So they're not discrete, they're not clear beginning and end. They're difficult to distinguish one response from the other. So we have examples. Who wants to read one? Let's read one at a time so we can start. Maybe it's gonna help us in the test. So number 1 is?
Humming.
Humming. The next one?
Remaining on task.
Thank you, Claudia. The next one?
Playing cooperatively with other children.
Yes. And the other one?
Operating a computer keyboard safely.
Thank you. And the next one?
Rocking.
And another one?
Chewing gum.
And then?
Thumb sucking.
Thumb sucking. And then we have the two last one?
Talking to peers.
And?
Engaged in stereotypy.
Engaged in stereotypy. These ones, you can find them in Mayer in page 120. I love the fact that he used a lot of examples to help us understand it a little better. So if you can see, they all happen for a long period, right? Have you seen somebody chew gum? It's like impossible to measure that. So also humming. Okay, so next I'm gonna do this. And these are basically more questions, but I wanted to make it a little bit more difficult and for us to really differentiate it. If you think you're still not good with them, I created this table here. If you want, take a picture with your cell phone so you can use it as a cheat sheet.
So ahead of you with the picture.
Yeah. Mark,
you're on another level with your organizational skills in these tables. This is amazing.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So this is the way I put it in easy.
You have 1 minute.
Oh, okay, so better. So let's do the other part in the next one. Just take a picture for on this one while I close it. Just in case, but try not to use it. Bye-bye, guys. See you in the next meeting.
Same link?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Same link.